Well, I may have been on holidays for a little while, but now I'm back and I have a lot of reviews to get into. So hi people, and hello my Chili Con Carnage crew, it's Chili here, the man who produces Iron in My Eyes, and I am here doing a 5-minute review on Bruce Dickinson's album, The Mandrake Project. Bruce is a name that will go down in history as one of metal's most distinguished frontmen, being the vocalist for the legendary Iron Maiden band for most of their tenure, and indeed for their most iconic material. So when Bruce first left Iron Maiden and released a solo album with Tattooed Millionaire, it turned some heads, but more like the scene from The Exorcist, as it left many wondering why both Bruce and Iron Maiden had sullied both of their names in that same decade. It was only when Adrian was welcomed back to Bruce's fold that his works poised a serious return to form and were noteworthy. I'm sure fans of Bruce would rush to defend him. After all, he has developed a cult of personality over the years by creating an image of stoicism and clever wit, as shown in interviews and on the Flight 666 movie. But sometimes the ego needs to be checked on for fear of sprouting roots that can engulf and choke others, like a mandrake root. If the initial tone of this review seems ominous, I can assure you it's not all bad news. In fact, it's an album that is fun to listen to on the surface level, with a few decent tracks mixed in with a few other ones that are a bit less than average. But if we break down further, then it shows the mind of someone who is teetering on plane with madness. Apple Music describes the EP as almost a concept album, instead of making an album with a concept. What's the fucking difference? There are many ways to suck ass, but rephrasing a type of album doesn't hide what it is. A fucking concept album. So let's not beat around the bush here and delve into why this album exists. And it's here to sell a comic book series that the singer made up. If this sounds familiar, then you are correct, because Coheed and Cambria have been doing this for years, and their albums and their music is concept albums. But I'm hyper-focusing on one point here. What about the music? The first single, Afterglow of Ragnarok, certainly showed us some potential for the first solo music from the singer in nearly 2 decades, and I think that's where the hype really started to snowball. When I saw this photo popping up on social media to announce the upcoming album, I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, he is trying to look imposing and serious, but I can't take him serious, standing there in his black jeans, a wife beater, and of course his ponytail with a stance that looks like something from an early Street Fighter game. I'm sure the photo shoot had several other photos, but are you sure you wanted to go with this one? Anyway. Afterglow was a solid hard-hitting track and a perfect choice to start the album off. The next few songs, not so much. Many Doors to Hell just sound subpar and forgettable, and Rain on the Graves is trying to sound a bit like Ghost but failing. As for Finger in the Wound, it's just plain forgettable, but Resurrection, man, isn't a bad track. It isn't until we get to the song Eternity Has Failed that it becomes transparently obvious the timing as to when this album began its writing process, as this song appears on Iron Maiden's 2015 album, The Book of Souls, as the opening track. Now, I love this song, and this variant is slightly different to the original composition for a myriad of reasons, in the sense that some of the timing is off in the music and it's slightly different key. If anything, it's like you're going for a rough demo of the work before the studio album is released. But I think I'm letting my love for the album, The Book of Souls, cloud my judgment here. Because after all, I love that album, and thus this track, despite being reused and in a slightly worsened state to the original.
It's just a little dirty. It's still good. It's still good. It's just a little slimy. It's still good. It's still good. It's just a little airborne. It's still good. It's still good.
It's gone.
I know.
For me, where I started to enjoy this album was in the second half, with songs like Mistress of Mercy, Faces in the Mirror, and Shadow of the Gods, which start to draw out the runtimes until the final track, Sonata Immortal Beloved, with its near 10-minute runtime. So naturally, I am drawn to this one, as it does not disappoint for a closing track. Overall, I will give this album a score of 6.5 million chilies on the spicy scale, with my favourite tracks being Eternity Has Failed, Mistress of Mercy, and Sonata Immortal Beloved. Maybe this album's been a bit of a vanity project in the making. Maybe like most artists who engage in such activities, their ego is writing checks that their careers just can't cash. For now though, with this fever and fanfare, it is impossible to tell just how much this album will truly be felt, but considering this review, it is one such admonishment. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to us, and stay notified for future music related content because it keeps our manager happy at the end of the day. We are also on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and all those other social platforms if you want to check us out. As always, people, you have a great day and stay spicy.